I'd like to talk with you about conceit. The Buddhist definition of conceit, that is. For a number of years, I worked at Harvard as a psychotherapist. And much to my surprise, there were more students and faculty who walked around that campus feeling like they didn't deserve to be there, that it was a mistake, a fluke, that they were accepted, and that when the authorities found out, they'd be kicked out. No joke. I cannot tell you. And there were professors who had been there for their entire career, and they would have dreams at night that they would wake up and they were being kicked out of Harvard. This is called imposter syndrome. When someone doesn't believe that they are deserving of their achievements or of the honor that they are shown. Do you see the problem? The incongruity between their self-assessment and reality, that they are indeed deserving of praise and respect regarding their particular capabilities. I find it so interesting how self-doubt can hide in the middle of what appears to be success or fame, how we can not feel good enough despite the external cues that tell us otherwise. Despite having the credentials, despite having the capabilities, even though we've worked really hard and done a good job, still, we doubt ourselves. Doubting ourselves and not feeling worthy is as much of a liability as being prideful. It is. According to the teachings, it's a form of conceit, mana in Pali. Mm-hmm. Good to know. Good to know that thou dost protest too much is a form of conceit, which arises around a sense of self. Me comparing, better than, worse than, neither. Equal. Conceit arises because we compare. And what do we compare? Well, we compare ourselves to ourselves. We compare ourselves to others. And we compare others to others. Think about horse racing and football and stocks. Why? Why do we compare? Well, that depends upon who you're asking. Social psychology would say that we're social and hierarchical beings, that we have or we create a pecking order or we impose that in order to create order in our life. If we ask philosophers, well, they would all agree that it's destructive in nature, that it's to be avoided, that it brings out or perpetuates baser qualities such as jealousy and envy. Oh my, not so pretty. Not pretty on the outside and not pretty on the inside. But when we consider comparing from a mindful perspective, why is not a meditator's question. The more accurate question is comparing happening? Can I see it in action? Can we see it in action? Can we feel it? Since science and the Buddhists say that our habit as human beings is to compare, well, let's not judge it. Rather, let's see if we can start to pay attention to when it's happening and how it feels and go from there. So here are some common clues or markers that comparing is happening. Notice or be on the lookout for or see and feel the tightening around who we think we are. Can you notice the tangle of feelings, the anxiety, the power, the guilt, the anger, the shame, the doubt that you are feeling? That's a marker. You are feeling those uncomfortable feelings about the self in comparison, in some way comparison. And we all compare. We size ourselves up all the time. Who we are right now at this particular age, we come out as better than, worse than, or equal to someone else our age, or someone younger or older. Or we might stumble into feeling our age or not when we're doing activities like hiking or biking with younger humans or older humans, right? But this too is simply comparing what we think this age should feel like against how it actually feels. As meditators, we also do a lot of comparing. We get prideful about the fact that we are meditators, about how long we've been meditating, and we feel bad about what we haven't achieved. We try to get back to special experiences we once had because we compare them. We hold them up and we say they're special. Now I have to get back to that. Be careful. Be careful. Remember again, just ask this, is comparing happening? Just this. Can you see it? Because that's the first order of business. Then, can you feel it? That's how we'll be able to discern how best to respond, is by how we feel. Right? But it's recommended that we start to notice comparing, because comparing is said to cause suffering. Does it? Really, does it? Check it out. Ehipassiko. Don't believe me. Don't believe him. Don't believe any other teacher. Check it out for yourself. Does comparing cause suffering? Is suffering happening? Not sure? Not sure? Okay. Is ease of well-being happening? Are you and others happy right now? Are you and others content right now? Check. Check inside, check outside, then adjust accordingly. Comparing causes suffering in here for me. And how much time and how much heartache do we cause ourselves by wishing that we were other than who we are? And comparing causes suffering out there to all of you in our relationships, inciting subtle conflict and tension by over or undervaluing ourselves or others. Can we see and feel when we are comparing ourselves to others? Oh, this can be very subtle. The slight jockeying of position for position in a conversation to be smarter, funnier, friendlier in one moment. For example, sometimes I can feel a little subtle competing with Bill. We're both really funny, truly. We have a lot of fun together, but we can do this little one-upmanship when we're doing this funny bantering back and forth. And what is that really? Well, what that is Susan's vying for position in that moment. Top dog. She's trying to be top dog. Susan is unchecked. She's arrived on the scene. She's unmindful and she's having some fun and she's getting into it a little bit. And she tries to be top dog. Now, can you see how if that goes unnoticed, it will escalate the situation? Right? I want to notice when I'm kind of doing that little one-upmanship. Because then I have a chance to make a different choice, right? So let's notice. Let's notice the poison arrow of comparing. Notice the internal chatter that positions us or others as better than, worse than, or equal to. All of that is our jockeying for position to try to establish where we are or where they are in the pecking order. See this. No judgment, just notice. Notice comparing as quickly as you can and name it. Name it. That interrupts the forward propulsion of that habit. Keep interrupting it. Keep noticing and naming each time. That interruption will slowly help that habit to die on the vine. Notice and name, because with that move, you are not lost in it. We can see the habit enough from outside of it so that we're not lost in the story. Once it's been noticed and named, we can begin to entrain. Entrain is by doing. We entrain the capacity to feel the feelings that are coming up when we compare. And as we do that slowly over time, we can begin to allow some of that to let go and release. And we can then begin to discern with a bit more clarity and stability what to do next. We can do this. Step by step, we can do this. It's for our welfare.